Several states have adopted self-defense law. The Stand Your Ground law is a law that allows citizens to protect themselves in any given situation through the act of self-defense. Unfortunately, the Stand Your Ground law has also been a possible defense for many hate-driven crimes, aiding in the increase of justifiable and unjustifiable homicides, and also doubling the number of African Americans murdered within the Florida area. I am proposing that the state of Florida enact a new policy, a Stand Your Ground law which requires citizens who defend themselves through the use of self-defense and use a concealed weapon, prohibition of murder unless they are being assaulted or placed in a life-threatening situation by an attacker. And along with their gun carrying license, I'm asking Florida to mandate each citizen take a class on proper self-defense. The new implementation should be adopted because the Stand Your Ground law has increased the number of justifiable and unjustifiable homicides within the Florida area. This implementation will require citizens who use a concealed weapon knowledge of different methods of protecting themselves before resorting to murder. According to HuffingtonPost.com, within 6 years of Florida adopting the Stand Your Ground law, African American homicides have increased by over 200%. That is more than the other 46 states alone. Florida citizens who receive proper training on self-defense will decrease the amount of citizens murdered lawfully within the Florida area. Just in July, our nation covered one of the largest trials since Casey Anthony, the murder of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was an African-American teenager who proceeded home after a walk from a store with a package of Skittles and a large sweet tea, dressed in a black hoodie. He was perceived as a threat by the neighborhood watchman and followed, and after a brawl, Martin was shot in his stomach and murdered instantly. Upon police arrival, Zimmerman stated that Martin was murdered out of self-defense. Since judicial officials had no other altercation report to go off of other than the incident report of George Zimmerman, Zimmerman was found innocent under the Stand Your Ground law and claiming self-defense. With the additional enactment, citizens of this state will be assured that a walk home from the store late at night won't result in murder, a justifiable murder of an innocent bystander. The enactment of the new Stand Your Ground law must also clarify how citizens can protect themselves under state law without murdering their attacker. For example, according to WCTV, Marissa Alexander, a citizen of Jacksonville, Florida, received a 20-year-old prison sentence on May 11, 2012 for firing a shot in the air against her allegedly abusive husband. Ms. Alexander was defending herself against her abusive husband and was tried for committing a crime instead of committing an act of self-defense. Alexander only scared her attacker, which notified the police and frightened him away. From a CBS News copy, WCTV also states Alexander was convicted of attempted murder after she rejected a plea of a three-year prison sentence. She did not believe she did anything wrong. The original Stand Your Ground law did not work in favor for Ms. Alexander, but the new Stand Your Ground law will. Instead of the citizens being convicted or tried as a criminal for firing a shot in the air, that will instead be an act of self-defense. Instead of lawfully murdering her attacker, she is firing a shot in an act of self-defense to persuade him to stay away. In the case of Trayvon Martin, his murderer was Hispanic. Miss Marissa Alexander, however, was an African-American woman. So this begs the question for America, as who does this law apply to? The media coverage of Trayvon Martin case displayed the lack of justice given to a citizen by the Stand Your Ground law and created a lot of racial tension regarding race and the existence of injustice. Using evidence from these two cases, it proved that the Stand Your Ground law, under the Stand Your Ground law, a citizen could be tried either as a criminal or as a person committing an act of self-defense, in which the new law will clarify and clear all of that up. Some may say that asking a citizen to take a class may be a bit much, but that would educate the society on proper acts of self-defense. So things like firing a shot in the air to disalarm an attacker, or firing a shot into a crowd, or maybe shooting them in a limb that won't result in murder, could result in both of the witnesses staying alive to testify and find out the real root cause of the case. That's why this law will be effective. It will be effective in promoting peace and safety and justice for all citizens instead of some. Thank you.